What is up, everybody? What is up? And welcome in to another episode of the DNVR DNVA show, starring us four. I'm your host today, Brendan Vogt. We're just going to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's go. But to be clear,
clap it up, people.
To be clear, just so it's understood, I'm clapping that Adam's not the host.
Hold on. Did you get a haircut?
I didn't.
Oh.
I did not.
Come on.
I really didn't.
Come on. Look at that thing.
I have a lot of
Did you
product
do
in
your
my
hair for the first? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I've been wearing a hat for like a month straight.
Okay.
Hey, I'm about to introduce the
different.
panel, but before I do, this show, as all of our shows, it's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Check it out. If you're a new user, use code DNVR. All types of sweet deals. To my left, the man with the wind in his hair, everyone's favorite, Harrison Wind.
Yeah, everybody compares us to a super team. We're just like the Brooklyn Nets, who have no coaches. Everybody's a coach.
We're all hosts.
We have no hosts. We're all hosts. You're a host. I'm a host. D-Line even hosts his own freaking show.
That's right.
Adam hosts a little bit every now and then, too. We're all hosts.
Of Online with D-Line fame, it's D-Line. What's up, brother?
Guys, I'm ready to do this today. Let's go.
You're feeling it?
It's nice to see you guys in person. I always see you just in a little box on my computer when I'm locked away in the back. And I can only assume you guys are out gallivanting, having a great time,
That's right.
enjoying life. But now that I know that I see you here in person, I know that you're miserable just like me. Makes you feel great. Let's go.
Misery loves company. And locked into the analyst seat today, kicking it back, it's Adam Myers.
It is 95 degrees outside. You guys know that? It's 95
It is
degrees
95.
And you're
and
wearing
climbing.
pants?
And yet, here we have D-Line, not just in a long sleeve shirt,
Wow.
but also with a hood.
You know what Adam is doing right now is he's pointing out his own weakness. Through I can wear this. I'm not wearing. Adam's wearing a t-shirt and jeans. He is complaining about the heat, asking for the
I'm
fans,
observing the
making
heat.
demands. Me, I'm sitting here cool as a cucumber.
You're not cool as a cucumber. I'm going to turn this fan so it only hits me.
I did hear we were in a drought, by the way. I heard that.
Oh,
We've got a loaded show for you guys today. Obviously, we did not get to the Monday mailbag, so we're pushing that to Tuesday. Tuesday mailbag. But first, we're going to look at some prospects, and we'll start the show with an update from Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. The birthday boy, Kevin O'Connor, who tweets out the Nuggets are one of multiple teams looking to move up into the top 20 of the draft. League sources say Denver currently has the 26th pick. In this article, he details that they're looking at younger players, future picks, as possible inclusions in a trade to move up. This comes as a bit of a surprise. At least seeing this does. Harrison, are you buying this report from Kevin O'Connor? Does it make much sense to you?
Man, I'm buying it in the sense that I'm sure the Nuggets have had conversations about moving up. I'm sure a lot of teams in the 20s had. You know, that doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
But I'm sure there are players the Nuggets would love to move up and get. What I have said all along, what I wrote on thednvr.com today when we put out our guard rankings, is that I think at 26, the Nuggets are in a spot where they feel like they're going to get a good player that just falls to them, and that's how the draft shakes out. Similar to how they stayed at their draft spot last year, and Zeke Naji fell into their lap, and then they got R.J. Hampton. So I think they're confident where they're at 26. They think they're going to get a good player there. Have they had a conversation about moving up? I'm sure they have. I don't know how real it is, how sure I am that it might happen, but I'm sure they've had the conversation.
Adam, the prospect that they might do this, how enticing is that to you?
First, you're burying the lead. Harrison did drop a fantastic preview of the draft today,
That's
guards.
right.
So for all of our DNVR members or subscribers, you can peek behind the paywall and see all of the guards that are possible for Denver to take in the first round, pretty much all the ones that are possible.
Yeah.
There's just the right amount of information. Just the right amount. Sometimes you can get too much information on these guys. You're like, just the right about bite size. You'll fly through reading it, and it's really great. Some cool graphics in there as well. Good job, Eric.
Yeah.
What are the prospects? Like, what are the odds?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, this prospect of the Nuggets moving up in this draft, is that enticing to you at all?
No. I mean, look, is there like a deal that could be struck that's awesome that moves up? Of course. Maybe there's pieces you're willing to depart with. But, to move up in the draft, you have to give something up. People don't just trade back in the draft for no reason, especially if you're talking about, as it seems, that the report was in the 20s.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, before 20. They're at 6. So moving up at minimum 6 spots, but I'm assuming 7, 8, 9 spots, maybe even more. Okay, You have to trade some real assets to make that kind of leap. What does Denver have? Well, they've got Zeke Nnaji. Are you wanting to part ways with Zeke Nnaji? I would be so surprised by that. I think Zeke Nnaji
absolutely
looks like a piece you want to move forward with. Bol, that doesn't move you anywhere. I don't think that moves you even 1 or 2 spots.
Maybe gets you a second rounder.
That might actually move you back in the draft.
Yeah.
Then you've got Marcus Howard. Again, nobody's looking there. Who is it that are these young pieces that you have? Michael Porter Jr. So I don't think he's the one either. So I look at this and I say it's not realistic unless you were willing to depart with a Zeke Nnaji and maybe something else, Monte Morris.
I was just gonna say,
PJ Dozier.
Are we talking about Monte Morris potentially?
But he's not young.
He's not young, and I would be more inclined to say that they would part with Monte Morris if they had a healthy starting point guard next season. I mean, if Monte Morris isn't on the team, it's not like you have a lot of cap room to go out and get Kyle Lowry,
right?
You know, so that means you're going to start PJ Dozier or Facundo Paso at the 2, at the 1. Like Monte Morris is your fill-in starting point guard right now.
To me, the only way you move up into that zone, is if you were attaching maybe like an Aaron Gordon type. Again, I don't think this is happening, and it wasn't part of the report. That's how you could move up. Otherwise, you're talking Michael Porter Jr., Zeke Nnaji, and I'm not sure what else Denver has that would really entice him. But it's PJ Dozier, final year of a deal, unproven player, injury history. I love PJ Dozier. He has more value to Denver than he does for some team that's like, I'll move up. And then my last point on this is I just thought we were past this point for Denver. I thought that Denver was in the, Zeke Nnaji, I'm really excited about him, but it took a year for him to get there. There's no reason for me to think that Denver is going to take somebody at 15, 14 that is immediately ready to help Denver with their currently open championship window. So what's the point? Is Denver still building towards the future? Not just preparing for the future, but building for the future? Right. That's what this sounds like. It doesn't sound right to me. I almost don't buy it because it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, this is the time of year where you have to just sort of like take everything with a grain of salt. Like we're in the part of the year which is just pure chess being played by different general managers, like agent. You don't know where any of this information is coming, and a lot of it ends up being super dubious. And you're trying to create urgency and get player movement. Mm-hmm. I really don't see it either, but Tim Connolly loves the draft, and it is his strength, and it is the thing that he always does the most with. Meaning that he'll trade back to get more picks. He'll trade for so you just can't ever rule anything like this out. But it seems like a strange strategy, but what do I know?
I mean, I would just add that it's not like they have like a plethora of tradable picks here either. And then also, this is supposedly a deep late first draft anyway, right? We've talked about so many guys that could absolutely still be available at 26.
That's why what I said at the top, I think is like my overarching takeaway going into draft. And I really feel like the Nuggets believe they can get one of those guys at 26. Like we've talked about most of them. Josh Primo, Trey Mann, Deuce McBride. One of those guys is probably going to be there at 26.
Springer, maybe even Jared Butler, who we'll talk about today.
Unless they have, and it sounds like from this report, there's a specific guy, because that's kind of what I have both assumed, but also heard. And when I say heard, I mean weeks back, not most current, but weeks back, that there's somebody available at 26. Like, we're going to feel good about whoever's available at 26. Now it seems a little bit more like, no, there's a guy, he's not available at 26, and he is a little bit better than everybody else, and so much so that it's worth trying to move up. Now,
who is that guy? That's what's tough.
Really interesting question.
Is it Garuba?
Maybe.
I mean, I would love
First of all,
Garuba. That'd be awesome.
That's a big trade up.
Tim, if you're in the comments, go ahead and tell us who that is.
Usman Garuba would be awesome, but you probably have to go up into the mid-teens to get him.
Yeah,
that's
at least 15.
Big jump to make.
Yeah, it's a huge
jump.
It's a
big jump to make.
Yeah,
I look at, so if you just ask me, here's a couple names. If you just think about the guard spots, and we've been so zeroed in on the guard spot, maybe that looking the wrong way. But if we look at the guard spot, okay, Chris Duarte is ahead of 26. He looks like he's going to be 19, 20, somewhere in there. He's 24 years old. Do you trade assets for a 24-year-old? As good as he might be, it just, that to me seems really weird.
Yeah.
You've got Cam Thomas, who maybe that is a Conley guy. He's a great shooter, really, really interesting, dynamic scorer. Doesn't really help you though. again, he's the quintessential. If you're talking about right now, Cam Thomas comes in and shoots the ball a lot off the bench, but does he in the playoffs? Is he playing any defense to help you stop? No chance. I don't think that is especially as a rookie. So that one to me would be just out of left field. The one guy who's kind of interesting here is Davion Mitchell, who I compare to Drew Holiday. I mean, he looks like that. Of course, he's at Baylor, a winner. We've seen him against some top talent, and he's looked even better against some of the top guys, at least at the NCAA level. Has question marks, and maybe he's a guy that you could talk yourself into. Okay, you just watched the playoffs. You need a great defensive, not just good, but great defensive player. Mm-hmm. Can we get that in free agency? Can we get it for cheap in Davion Mitchell? Maybe, but even that, you're talking about trading a lot of assets for a rookie who still is probably going to need some seasoning.
If you go up and trade into the lottery for Davion Mitchell, you got to be really, really confident he's that guy, man. And I'm not confident that he's that guy. He's 6 feet tall.
Right. And his top skills are defense, and right there you go, okay, well, that's limited, right?
Yeah. Like, if you think he's going to be Drew Holiday, more power to you. I mean, he's 6 feet tall. I mean, there's only so much you can do on defense at 6 feet tall.
My God. The one thing I want to explore is the influx of cams in the NBA. Reddish, Payne, Thomas.
Is there any others? Do we have 3 Cams?
There's 2 Cams on Phoenix, right?
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. Cam Payne.
Who else do we have?
Reddish.
Okay.
And
wow. And then very soon,
that's
you're
what
right.
I'm saying.
Cam
There's just
Thomas.
too many Cams.
Too many Cams. Way too many Cams.
I mean, another guy I look at is Trey Murphy, but again, like all these names are, it's a similar issue. You're essentially trading up into the lottery or right near there, and that's just going to take such a gamble, right? Such an exchange of valuable assets, and it doesn't seem like it fits Denver's timeline.
So here's another interesting wrinkle to this, though. We just look at the Tim Conley era. Traded back, right? Traded back to get Gary Harris
that's
and
his signature move.
Traded back, it's
get
always
Tyler Lydon.
to get Tyler Lydon and Monte, but. Just moving forward, Tim always seems like a guy that finds value where he is. So the story of moving up, just something about it feels a little strange to me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. Like this coming out at this stage just feels like gamesmanship.
Yeah, I mean that's almost the most likely scenario here, unless Denver really thinks that, we've got PJ Dozier and Bol. That's worth 10 spots in the draft. And it's like probably not, but maybe they feel that way for some reason.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, like I think Harrison is right. Like, there's been conversations like, what if we and like that's taken as sort of like gospel in a sense, when really it's just sort of like they're just kind of feeling each other out. Like, I mean, have you ever been in a fantasy draft where you're like, hey, what if I
the thing is it's Kevin. First of all, I do think, just from poking around, I do think there's something to it. Like I think that was I don't think this was a made up rumor or something that came from like a one-sided.
Right.
I do think but at the same time, I'm relatively certain that it's not the only thing being discussed. Meaning, another report could have come out that said Denver's looking to trade out of the draft, and then we'd all be like, really? So I do think it's one of several scenarios that are being explored. To be honest with you, I didn't think them moving up in the draft was one of the 10 scenarios I envisioned happening at this draft.
No, it doesn't sound right. It really just doesn't sound right. It doesn't match Tim Connolly's personality or just what we've seen of him. We just said his signature move is to take a pick and then turn it into 2.
Yeah, and if you're a contending team, I mean, how many contending teams are really trying to trade up a lot in the
That's
draft?
the other thing. Like, when I love discussing hypothetical trades as though you don't have to have another side agree to the trade. You're like, well, why don't they just trade this? You're like, I don't know. The other team didn't want that. That's why.
Yeah. So it is interesting to kind of just look around and see who has what picks. The Wizards at 15, newly head coach Wes Unseld. You got Tim Conley's connections. Maybe that's something more realistic. I don't know that there's like value on a sign and trade for Will Barton and that you get things back in that deal. It's not usually how sign and trades work, but who knows? Maybe. So I don't know. It's a real mystery to me, real head scratcher.
I wonder if that gets put out there now, and then on draft night, teams are looking around the league. Oh, Denver's been rumored to want to move up. Let's call Denver.
Right.
So maybe it's just like now Denver's going to be in the mix. Like now Denver's going to be on speed dial for a lot of teams.
Oh.
And then also, what people hear and what people are willing to report. Like, within the last week, we've seen conflicting reports with the Lakers, for example, that they're going to trade up. They're also going to trade down. So it's like we said at the top, all these conversations are happening.
Only thing certain with the Lakers is that they are trying desperately to trade their crummy
KCP
players,
and Kuzma.
KCP and Kuzma, who were,
good
for
players.
years we were told were incredible, and now no team wants anything to do with them.
On their
Why would
hands
you-
and knees begging.
Yeah, why would you not want a player in your team that is not afraid to shoot over Jesus himself?
That's true.
It's a great
That is a
question.
great point. When he hits a shot over Bobo in an exhibition game.
Yeah. You don't want that on your squad?
All right, well, when we come back on the other side, guys, we've got a few more prospects here, a few more scouting reports to dish out, some guys that could be available around 26, maybe a little later. But first, it's the man with the wind in his hair and the man with the ads on his computer.
Pick up some Mile High City Copper Lager from Breck Brew this week. Make sure you have some for the draft. While you're watching us streaming live during the draft on YouTube, maybe you're here at the DNVR Bar. If you're not, make sure to have a Mile High City Copper Lager in hand. While you're watching us during the draft, you can pick some up from your local liquor store. You can pick some up from the Breck Brew Farmhouse as well. Perfect for any occasion. Just a beer that's absolutely perfect for any occasion.
Very crushable.
Yeah, if you're watching the draft, if you're at City Park.
If you had a long day.
Yeah.
If you had a short day.
Take a load off with the Mile High City Copper Lager.
If you have a load on.
Also, here at the DNVR Network, we're now sponsored by Ball.
Let's go.
Ball Arena, where the Nuggets play. As in the world's largest aluminum can and packaging manufacturer. Also as in the aerospace technology company. Bet you didn't know that one. Ball has been leading global sustainability efforts for decades. In 2018 and 2019, Ball Aerospace developed image surveillance systems to observe natural resources from space and methane, ozone, even land and water use. Ball's ASI, Aluminum Stewardship Initiative, that makes them a leader in the stewardship of aluminum. They're a great company. They do a lot of cool stuff. By 2030, Ball aims to reduce operational carbon emissions by 55% and across their value chain from 16% from 2017 levels. They're also looking for really bright people to work at their Golden plants. If you want more information, go to jobs.ball.com, search for Golden, or simply text Golden to 77222 if you want to work for a really cool company in Ball right here in Golden, Colorado.
Let's go. Dude, I'm fired up. I'm actually going to text right now. Like, I'm not liking the way this podcast is going. I'm looking for a career change.
All right, guys. Well, we're leading up to our big night on Thursday night, our big draft show, and we're gonna round out our scouting reports here this week.
Just remind people real quick though
what the draft show is and where they.
Oh,
can
just
see
that
it.
they come to the DNVR bar.
Good idea.
We actually have two big events this week. We have the draft show, which is Thursday. Should be a riot. Should be a great time. Saturday's also our
Grand
our
opening.
Grand opening. That's
2.0.
gonna be like an all day longs party.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
never know, by the way, who's going to show up.
Whoa. We started at 1 o'clock, so we have like as much time as possible.
Oh, we got a big cushion.
Yeah.
We got a big cushion. And word to the wise out there, if you're ever looking to have a big opening of something you've worked on for a long time, do not choose Friday the 13th as the initial day to open that thing. We did that, and we triggered a global pandemic.
So that's our bad.
Our bad. We do apologize. We do regret that.
So now we're taking her back. We're going to do grand opening 2.0, not on Friday the 13th, on Saturday the 31st.
Is Eric going to be there?
Oh.
Or is drunk Eric going to be there?
Oh, Eric will be. Actually, I don't know that Eric's going to make an appearance. D-Line will be here in full force.
D-Line's gonna
Let's
be
freaking
there.
go, dude.
Spreading the gospel of Hassel Cattle Company to everybody who doesn't want to hear it.
If anybody wants to be have their ear talked off about marbling or something something in Photoshop, some of my favorite keystroke commands, come on down to the DNVR bar.
That is the worst sales pitch of all time.
It sure is. Come on down anyway.
All right, Kale, cue up that first prospect here. We're going prospecting.
We're going prospecting.
We're going to talk about Joel Ayayi. I can't say his name very well, but I'm very excited about this prospect, guys. He's a combo guard out of Gonzaga, 21 years old, 6'5", 6'7" wingspan, only about 180 pounds. Consistent outside shooter, not necessarily dynamic, but he's going to hit an open shot. He's a terrific cutter, terrific off-ball player, and obviously the appeal of a player like that in Denver, it's pretty apparent next to Jokic. There's playmaking upside. Our guy Adam Spinella has detailed that at length in his videos. You know, not necessarily something he's known for, but something he can do and something that he can develop at the next level. Not the most athletic guy, not a super dynamic handle, and he's not creating much for himself. He's not a one-on-one break you down guy, but a team guy, a system player. So let's cue up those highlights, Kill, if you got them. And
I like Joel
Harrison, I'll go to
Yai
you.
because I feel like he just seems like a Nuggets role player.
That's it, man. That's it.
High IQ, knows the game, knows where to be, not selfish, doesn't need a ton of shots, plays his role, defends. Like, just nice role player, man. That's who you want to surround the Nuggets big three with. Guys like this, guys like Joel Yai. It's probably a second rounder that Denver could trade into the draft to get. Like,
Dude, Zag's very well represented in this draft.
yeah. Also, what I like about Gonzaga players is they play in like an NBA level offense.
Yeah.
They play in a very complex scheme. So they're not going to be flustered by terminology and complex X's and O's when they get to the NBA level. I trust Gonzaga players.
Yeah, they know their roles. They play within their roles. I think this is a guy that's probably not viewing himself, at least right away, as like some superstar, but a guy who's going to try to make the low end of a rotation.
International, too. I like that.
Right, born in
Oh,
France. Defensively, he's competent. He's very active. He worked himself up to a very competent level in college. There's strength concerns. I mean, 180 pounds.
He's a little guy,
You'd like
man.
to see him get a little stronger. That's going to be important to his versatility defensively at the next level. But yeah, feel for the game, like Wynn said. I think this is a guy that just knows where to be on both sides of the floor.
It's funny because the Nuggets already have like a lot of my type of guys. I almost feel like filling out the roster with, especially when we talk about shooting guard, the next guard next to Murray, is going to be a guy that's not my favorite, but he allows my favorite types to play.
Right.
So I look at a guy like Ayayi and I think, man, I really like it. The athleticism isn't there. He's not that quick, but I just like smart player cuts, understands the game, can shoot, can do all that stuff that you need. Would be a perfect, fourth option, fifth option, reliable. But then I think about it and I think Denver, I've talked about this so much, I do think they need somebody on the roster that can beat people off the dribble and can defend at an elite level and this or that. It's just he's not that. So I like him because he's my favorite type of player. I just don't know if that's what they need at that shooting guard spot.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's you pick him and he's your two guard. I think he's a bench guy.
I mean, he's a second rounder. I mean, he's not a 26 pick.
No, he's a second rounder. Yeah,
I think he's a
definitely
bench
not
guy, and you're
26.
like, he's just a good player. Let's put him on the roster and see what happens.
I mean, he looks like CJ McCollum to me.
This is the kind of guy I think you look at if someone does say, all right, here's a second rounder for Bowl, depending on where that is. It's just, but what I really like is just a smart player, a really good cutter. And then once he cuts and catches the ball, he's an adept finisher around the rim as well. You guys are absolutely right. Like, I don't sort of view him or project him as a starter or high-end starter or anything like that. But I think this is absolutely a guy who's going to figure out a way to carve out an NBA career for himself.
How do you weigh, like Gonzaga's a good program, they play smart basketball. How do you weigh teams that have multiple guys in the draft? You know what I mean? This is kind of
I
the
do.
Devin Booker factor. Like Devin Booker was not, he came off the bench
Right.
at UK, but it's like, yeah, but they have 4 NBA players on the roster. He's that way too. I mean, you've got a couple guys, you got Suggs ahead of him, you got Kispert ahead of him, and now...
Well, I think it's a positive because he played a role at Gonzaga around some stars.
Yeah.
He was a role player around Jalen Suggs and Kispert and a couple other guys, and that's going to be his role in the NBA. So
Right.
I feel like I don't know what he thinks. I can't read his mind, but I feel like the role he played at Gonzaga, he was okay with because he was there for like 3 years. So I feel like he'd be okay being a role player in the NBA. So I think it's a positive.
It's not necessarily the same thing as Kentucky, right? Trying to unpack how all these sort of 5-star, the guys, first option guys mesh together.
That's true, though. I mean, it is true. Like there's something really positive about the idea that a team that was so successful and played like so well together, and has a bunch of guys that are NBA caliber, like he was able to play seamlessly along them. That's a pretty good point. So, second round draft pick. That
Yeah,
for a guy, a player.
and for what it's worth, Kevin O'Connor has him on his big board around like 47, and I think that's around the area where most folks want him. But yeah, just a sleeper guy that I thought might be fun to look at.
It is fun.
Yeah,
It
maybe
was
a
the
guy
time
that
of my
might fit
life.
well in Denver.
He's my kind of guy.
The other two guys, though, that I wanted to talk to you fellas about today Recently mocked in the 22-23 range. Could absolutely be available at 26, although I don't necessarily expect them to, but it's possible. Let's talk about Jared Butler out of Baylor. Jared Butler is a combo guard, 20 years old, 6'3", 6'4" wingspan. Again, I'd be surprised if he's at 26, but he has been sliding in some of these mocks. Look at the strengths. Shooting, playmaking, defense, that's all great. Cons finishing around the rim, and then also strength. I mean, 6'3" is not going to be the smallest guy, but he's not the biggest guy in this draft either, biggest guard. And I think playing through contact, playing with strength, still an area of improvement for him. Adam, what do you think about Jared Butler?
It's kind of similar to the last guy, a better version of this, but it's like, again, another one of those, I like the mold. I like the type of player, but is that what Denver needs? He does provide some defense, not necessarily defensive versatility because of his size, but he is a good defender. And maybe Denver, I don't know if Denver's ever going to be like a fully switch everything type team or anything like that, so maybe it doesn't matter. What did we just get going on here?
No, we just got some sound on the highlights.
But he does do a lot of interesting things, so I like him. I would be shocked if he was an option for Denver.
Sure.
He does seem to be mocked all over the place.
All over the place.
Well, it has to be with the
I
health
think a
thing.
reason because of that is the health issue. He had a heart issue when he got to college that made him unable to play when he committed to Alabama. And then he went to Baylor and he got cleared. So it's kind of one of those things where I don't know what the medical looks like, but NBA teams do. So I wonder if that's why he's.
But there was questions even with the
all over
NBA,
the place.
right? For a while there, it was like he was in limbo,
and then they
cleared
did
him.
clear him.
Right.
But I don't think that necessarily means like he's good to go. You know.
Another winner though.
Yeah.
Another winner.
Yeah,
Whatever it's
and a
worth.
microwave scorer off the bench, right? Could maybe score and burst pretty well at the next level. And then look, that's the on-ball defense is a high mark for him. But again, when you're that size, I always bring this point up because I think it's really important. Like Gary Harris was the best perimeter defender on the Nuggets by a country mile, and then wasn't closing games in the conference finals because there wasn't a matchup for him. So on-ball defense is mitigated by size.
He's got a great jumper though.
Great jumper.
Great looking jumper. One of the best shots in the class for sure. And also one of the best on-ball defenders.
And a great spot-up guy, really smart off-ball player, relocates well, high-effort guy. I mean, there are a lot of things to like about Jared Butler. Mostly just wanted to bring him up because I was surprised to see him so low in some of the latest mocks.
Yeah, another super high character guy. I mean, he fits that. And we know that's really important to Denver, but I think you have like guys who are culture fits, as in there's no negatives to them, and then there's guys that are culture fits because they're like beamingly positive. I think he's that type.
Right. Eric, are you learning anything about Jared Butler? Do you like what you see here in this highlight pack?
He looks a little undersized. I like to know that he's a shooter. I mean, who doesn't want more shooting in the NBA? I love every team when they break it down. They're like, they need more shooting.
So true.
Yeah.
So shooting is
They just
important.
need another shooter.
They just need to get another shooter out there. But he does look a little small to me. I don't know.
6'3".
More just the body type.
Yeah.
And not explosive too is the thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm wondering like if the strategy for the Nuggets this year isn't to get guys that they can send to Grand Rapids and keep on ice essentially, develop and then bring back later when some of these some of the guys that we have on the team now sort of like their contracts expire and keep that cupboard stocked. I mean, I don't really know if they're looking at this draft as a way to get better this year. I have a hard time imagining it. I mean, do you?
Butler wouldn't be that guy.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. That's what I mean. Like, so a guy like this, you can be like, well, all right, he's got a lot of skills that, NBA teams want. He's definitely like
He could grow into a Mr. Nugget role.
Yes.
Off the
Yeah.
bench. Everybody loves
Do you
him.
think that going to Grand Rapids and putting time in with the gold, that gives you Mr. Nugget points?
Oh,
Because I think it should.
Mr. Gold Nugget.
Yeah, but just
Yeah, Mr.
putting
Gold.
putting time in Grand Rapids, it's like paying your dues.
That is.
Paying your
All right.
Mr. Nugget dues.
Well, it feels
I
like
don't think somebody on the gold is going to be Mr. Nugget,
It
man. I don't
feels
think that
so
could happen.
novel.
I think it could.
Doesn't it feel so novel, the idea Denver Nuggets have a place where they can put players that aren't immediately on the squad and they just don't have to release them into the atmosphere?
very excited for
or
the
just
gold.
hope
Me
that
too.
another team develops them in the right way. Like, I'm tickled. It's like I just feel like we have this new toy.
It's that sweater you have. That's what it is.
It's a sweatshirt, Adam, and
It's a sweater. It's a sweater.
No, it's not. Anyway, anyway.
Yeah, so Jared Butler, I mean, health concerns aside, I think he's a guy that can absolutely carve out an NBA career for himself. But yeah, how well does he fit with the Nuggets? Not a very explosive guy, below the rim, but
He's a good player, though. Right?
He's twitchy, though. He's
good
twitchy.
player.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a nice player off the bench.
Like,
for
could he
someone.
be Terrence Mann? Like the Clippers, Terrence Mann?
Yeah, it's possible.
He's a better shooter.
Does it bother you that Terrence Mann came from Florida, Trey Mann comes from Florida, and they are of no relation?
Right.
Bothers
Man.
me.
I
Bothers me.
refuse
Two
to
ends?
believe that.
Sleep over it.
I refuse. That's just an error on Wikipedia.
It can't be right? It has to be wrong.
No, Eric, it doesn't bother me.
Does it bother you?
Thanks for asking, though.
So there's a Terrence man and a Trey man. Does that presume there was a first man?
Oh man, probably not. No.
That's terrible.
That's not good.
Nah, that's a terrible joke.
Oh boy.
Nobody
Alrighty.
in the room. Everybody.
We can move on from Jared Butler.
It's my kind of humor, though. I appreciate that. It's my kind of analysis.
Third guard, I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Sharif Cooper out of
All right,
Auburn.
let's do this one.
He's undersized, guys. Sharif Cooper is
Every player.
He is 6'1", if that, 6 foot wingspan.
I'm starting to see a trend in the players that Vogt picked.
I didn't even
But he's
do
got
that
a
on
lot of heart, guys. He's got.
I didn't do that on. This guy reminds me of Faku. Oh my god, I hate myself. Okay, Sharif Cooper, strengths. I mean, handle, playmaking. He's a very gifted passer. That dynamic handle allows him to be a pretty dynamic playmaker as well. And then 1v1 scoring. He's really fast, twitchy guy. He can beat you off the dribble. Doesn't necessarily need a screen. But guys, Eric, these are your favorite guys. The weaknesses.
Can't play basketball.
Defense, shooting, size, and strength.
That's my guy, dude. Let's get him.
Let's roll the tape on.
I'm
on Sharif
into
Cooper.
100% heart and 0% skill.
So Sharif Cooper is a guy that you've seen around that same range, sort of 22, 23 range. Gets a fair amount of buzz, been talked about a lot. I'm not sure I see it with this guy, guys. I think Cooper's got some bust potential as a smaller guy with a lot to work on. But Harrison,
bust potential.
what do you think? What do you think about Sharif Cooper?
Well, I just hate small guards. Sorry, Vogt.
Yeah, it's all right.
Sorry, small guards out there. So that automatically makes me not a
Faku,
Sharif
Lo
Cooper
Siento.
guy. Yeah. Also, he can't shoot it, or he didn't shoot it.
Not well
at
all
Auburn
in college.
I don't think he's like an amazing defender. He's small, like I said, 6 foot, 6'1". Great passer though, like great vision, great pure point guard.
Very good passer.
Can he be Ish Smith, Jalen Brunson combo of those two? Like that's probably his best case scenario.
That's only good if you're playing against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for real. You said twitchy earlier, and I think maybe like shifty would be even more because he's like a joystick. Like you watch the one of the highlights they had with him going coast to coast. There was like 5 cuts in there with the ball in his hands, like right, hard 90-degree turn left, hard. So he's like a joystick the way he's able to sort of operate at full speed and make movements. But then again, that's because he's a tiny guy. I mean, tiny guys sometimes are that way. So I'm with you. He's intriguing. I don't know that he's like a certified bust or whatever.
I wouldn't
especially
say certified, but
well, you
some
didn't say certified because at 22,
You guaranteed it as far as I'm concerned.
you did guarantee it at 6'1" and being picked at 22. Almost the expectation is that below 50% chance that he would work out, but he does. He really runs the team well. He passes really well. He gets to his spots whenever he wants because he's so quick. But yeah, the weaknesses are tough.
He's a very gifted passer. Might be the best passing guard in the draft, but yeah, 20.8% from the college 3-point line.
Not great.
Doesn't even jump on his shot. His shot is like a set 3.
Yeah.
It's kind of ugly. It's kind of weird because he's a pretty fundamentally sound person.
And he's a really good free throw shooter too. 82.5 from the line.
Right, so there's some reason to believe maybe...
See, that shot just doesn't get off the ground?
Yeah, he never looks very comfortable with it either.
Do you think he grew his hair out so that we'd be tricked as
Yes.
be taller?
Yes.
He's like 3 inch to 4 inch
100%.
tall.
He's got
man.
a great look about him, I'll tell you that.
I couldn't agree with you
Great
more.
look.
I could not agree with you more.
And a good name. He looks like his name sounds, you know what I mean?
Sometimes that's all you need.
Right.
But he's a really good player, though. Like Adam said, he's a point guard, knows how to run his team. He averaged 20 and 8 in the SEC as a freshman. So he's a good player. Because I don't know if he's a really good NBA player.
Yeah, I guess when I just say bust potential, I just mean he
Might not make it.
I mean, there's a chance he can't shoot at all, and if you can't shoot at all as a 6-foot guard, I mean,
Looks like a little campaign in here.
You were just so hung up on campaign.
You know what? I actually know what it is. It was the inside layup.
It's
the
that
inside hand
scoop
layup.
there.
Yeah,
Yep,
oh,
yep, yep.
he does
And he also shoots at a little bit of a slight angle.
Oh, yeah. Well, campaign, remember, 4 teams, I think, before he had his breakout year in Phoenix. And that,
I hate campaign as a player.
there's also, there is that thought of it, as some of these guys are guys that take a while, and
Yeah.
that means they usually end up on other teams before
Sure.
they're ready.
Or they hunker down at the gold.
They hunker down.
Yeah, they become
hunker
gold,
down through that cold,
They
long
become
winter.
gold mainstays. Yes.
He is an example, though, of that type of guard that can break down a defense all on his
Stay
own.
gold.
But, again, I don't think you're drafting Sharif Cooper to be your starting shooting guard. I think he's more, like you said, a true backup.
Yeah.
And
Out of all the guards in that late first round range, he would be the one that I'd be most surprised if Denver took, I think.
You said he'd been mocked at 22. Is that this player?
Mid to late 20s.
somewhere in
twenties?
that range, yeah, somewhere in that. They slide
Yeah.
every week.
Out of all those guys that we've talked about, like Primo, Trey Man, McBride, I'd be pretty shocked by Sharif Cooper.
All right, so it sounds like I've underwhelmed you all quite spectacularly with these 3 prospects. Do any of them pique your interest as a future Denver Nugget? And obviously, with Joel, we're not talking about that 26th pick.
not really.
Yeah.
A Yayi I like, but I mean, what is he going to be? Like a 8th, 9th man one day?
Hey, you need some of those, but yeah.
International flair, too. He has
Oh.
French and citizenship in Benin.
Oh,
I like
exciting.
that.
That's
Benin
fun.
or Benin?
I think it's Benin.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Benin.
Where is Benin?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. It's right there on the little part of the western part of Africa there, right next to Nigeria and I believe Togo.
We're learning so much today.
Geography corner.
I believe Porto Novo is their capital.
Unbelievable.
All right, this seems like a natural time for a break, and when we come back, we'll finally get to those mailbag questions that you guys asked us yesterday.
Yeah, guys, head to manscaped.com. Use the code DNVR for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code DNVR. Make sure to pick up that Lawnmower 4.0 for the summer with that 7,000 RPM motor, 4,000K LED spotlight, different blade lengths, sizes 1 through 4. The travel bag that you also get when you get the Performance Package 4.0. I think that's like a $39 value. You also get some anti-chafing boxers with that as well.
Holy
Tons of stuff in
smokes.
that Performance
I've
Package
never
4.0.
chafed in those boxers, bro.
They're anti-chafing, so
They work.
Dude, look at this
I'm
man's
glad they
face.
work.
That's a chafe-free existence going on over here.
Free existence. Wow.
He's
Never
chafed.
You can
chafed.
tell how my inner
Chafers.
thighs are rocking from my face.
I can hear them. There's no noise when normally there is.
Wow.
Oh, man. Well, if you want to get that perfect or Performance Package 4.0, if you want to get the Lawnmower 4.0, you can get it for 20% off at manscaped.com plus free shipping with the code DNVR. Make sure to use that code DNVR at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. Right now at DraftKings, awesome deals going on. Awesome deals going on that you guys should take advantage of. Right now, you can place any pre-event wager of $1 to be eligible to cash $100 in free credits if the USA wins any medal this year. That's 100-1 odds on any American athlete to stand on the podium and receive gold, silver, or bronze this week.
And spoiler alert, they've already won 40.
40?
Yes.
Exactly 40.
Well, in that range.
Okay. Nice. Well, they'll probably win many more. That seems like a lot this early in the games, but I'll trust you on that.
Andre said that number.
Okay.
I'll verify this.
United States has won 25 now.
25.
Okay,
sorry.
25.
20. Andre, you SOB. I'll end you.
9 gold, 8 silver, April.
Well, they've won in the 20s. So that bet wins before you place it.
Yes, that bet has already won. It will win again, maybe every day for the next couple weeks. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits if the USA wins a medal. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 in free credits for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Also, Solace Meds has some crazy deals still going on in the month of July. Take advantage of these guys. You can get them at all 4 of their convenient Colorado locations. Solace Meds has locations in Fort Collins, Wheat Ridge, Broadway, and on East Colfax, just blocks from the DNVR bar. Here's some of their awesome deals in July that they got going on right now. All Green Dot concentrates, 20% off. All Wana, 25% off. You can get a 10-cent pre-roll or 10 milligram edible when you spend $50. Whoa, great deal right there.
Unbelievable.
So stop in today. Use the code DNVR20 for 20% off. That's another deal they've got going on always. At any of their locations, if you're at the Wheat Ridge location, you can get a free Solace bar or King Cone with your purchase. But remember that DNVR20 code for 20% off.
I was really, really pressed by my hoodie. It's really throwing him off.
It's disgustingly hot outside.
It's so hot.
And you're in a hoodie. I am actually with Adam on this one.
Thank God.
Sorry to bully you.
Well, would never side with me unless it was really, really, really clear.
I'm comfortable. Doesn't that matter?
Okay, hey, here's a ShamWow, guys. The NBA Board of Governors have voted to continue the 2020-2021 play-in tournament. It's officially back for next season.
So pumped that when you're hosted, we got to hear you say tournament.
Tournament.
It's my favorite faux word of yours.
Tournament.
I never knew that until until I started doing
I thought
the
you were
show.
going to say the NBA Board of Governors has voted to approve and continue the 2021-2022 season.
Yeah.
Let's not get let's not
right
get ahead of
though, doesn't it?
ourselves. Let's not get ahead of
We're
ourselves.
getting a season.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Alrighty. It is time for the Monday mailbag
Let's go.
on Tuesday, July 27th, 2:46 p.m. I'm going to give Kale time for a graphic. There we go. Look at that.
Where's the 3 heads in the bag? The severed heads in
Just
the bag.
close your eyes and imagine
Most
it.
horrifying graphic in the DNVR.
At 93, Keithness wants to know, how do you see this draft playing out for the Nuggets? Take the pick at 26, trade up, trade down. If they do pick at 26, who are your personal preferences at the moment?
We haven't talked about this at all.
Yeah, germane. Well, this is a very germane question today.
How hilarious! Because if we would have got to this yesterday, the way that when he sent
would
it,
have
was
said,
like,
no way they
they
trade
move him. Are you crazy?
Are you crazy?
Listen to us, guys. We know.
But luckily, we're tackling it now. With
My question, I have a question. Why did you choose justified as the way to align that question?
Huh?
You have inconsistent spacing in between words.
Are you talking to Kale?
Eric,
No, I'm talking to Adam.
Eric, not a fan of Justified.
No, not a fan of justified.
You like align middle?
I like you choose left when it's for reading. You see, in between take, the, pick at 26. All. Yeah. Adam chose justified.
All right, guys. Well, we'll take them behind
It's
the
like a
curtain
letter
of the
that
industry.
you write in a paper. You know, like when you got mail in the paper. Like, okay, what's the Ask Abby? We're like Ask Abby right here.
With the font industry.
This is the kind of good stuff we usually save for the members only pod. Can you pull that question? Oh wait, that was the question. Yeah. So what do you guys think? I just would prefer they just draft at 26, and I also like Springer. That is also my prime choice if he's available at 26.
Okay.
Wind?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Great answer.
Like, yes, one of those guys is going to be there that we've talked about, but I got to say, I'm not like 100% gung-ho about any of them. I'm really not, man.
Give us two you really like.
I like Deuce McBride.
Nice.
I really do. I really, really do, but I'm not like 100%, Deuce McBride's going to be a hell of a player.
I mean, that's the thing about the end of the draft, right? It's like pure, like even more so than in years past when we were in the lottery. Like this is actually just purely gambling. It feels
Primo,
like.
I get really excited about Primo. I mean, he's so young. Like the skills are obviously there. Inject the Grand Rapids Gold with some talent.
Let's
I'm all
go,
for
dude.
that. I'd get excited about Primo. I like Bones Highland too.
Yeah, I'm excited for the
26
good,
is
the
probably
good
a little
people of
early.
Michigan, the Michiganders. They have
Yeah.
a great team to root for.
We'll have this coming out, I think, on Thursday. Kind of like the guys that we are super excited about. But
Yeah, we don't wanna give
Springer,
it too much. Yeah.
Springer to me is up there. There are a lot of guys that I would be. I don't know if there's anybody that they could pick that I would be like, hell yeah, like high fives all around.
Yes,
I think there's a lot more, but there's a wide group of guys that I'd be like, okay, I'm intrigued. Like that's cool.
Right.
That's in the category. And
Right,
there's
right.
only a few that I'd be like. And here's the funny thing: the guys I don't see, if the Nuggets take them, I'm kind of like, All right. What did I miss? Kind of like it was last year with Zeke Naji, just because I know Tim's good at this. So there are a few people I don't like. There's a big group of guys I do like, but nobody I love.
Let's move on to another question.
Jason Preston, that one I'd get excited for. Hell
At
yeah.
26.
Dig it
Well,
around.
maybe
Do
not
it.
26.
Do
Maybe
the
not
mailbag.
26, but.
I love this question. Do you guys think Jokic watched a single finals game?
So we have to put over-under amount of actual game minutes that Jokic has watched for the finals. Over-under. What's the line going to be? I'll set it.
60, one game.
No, I'm going to hope of actual game clock time that he watched. I'm going to set it at 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Over.
First of all, we know he's on vacation. He was on Italy for part of it.
yeah, I'll say over.
I believe it's over. I think he watched.
Well, there's the time difference.
Time difference, yeah.
Is he staying up?
So is he watching highlights
waking
on
up early?
YouTube? Is he staying up till 2 in the morning to watch it?
If Miroslav can do it, why can't Jokic?
Jokic doesn't want to.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Like, I think that when you become the MVP of the league, like maybe your relationship changes a little bit.
And he does love Giannis.
Yes, exactly. He's
He
rooting for his
loves
boy.
eating too.
Yeah, I really think he watched the finals. I think he watched the finals.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a definite over.
I'm going under. I think he's aware of the finals. I don't think he watched.
I think I'm going under.
Aware of the.
I think he needed a
He
break.
knows
this year.
of the finals.
He knows of the finals.
I really do love that's a legitimate question for the NBA
and we
MVP,
we have stark differences.
Yep.
Like you can't agree.
You don't think he just caught 10 minutes of game time at a bar once? At a Sombor bar?
Would it be 3 in the morning?
At a
in the morning.
sambar.
Sombar?
Maybe. All right, let me dig around this mailbag here, see if I can find another question. And we've got one. This one comes to us from at Chad6228924.
Let's go, Chad.
This is definitely Tim Conley filling out.
What do you think about trading for Derek White? But also the second part of this, I was more intrigued by. If Denver decides to trade their pick for an established player, is there anyone that they could target?
In that part, of course.
So, Derek White, kind of the mold that you might want next to Jamal Murray a little bit. Really good defender. You kind of wish he was a little taller. He's only 6'3". You wish he was 6'4", 6'5". But he's pretty built. He can penetrate. He can get to the rim, as we saw in the playoffs a couple years ago.
Yep.
So I think he's a decent fit in the Nuggets backcourt. Decent.
He also has something that is like you can't count on from any other player, which is that he loves this area.
He does.
It would actually mean something to him to play for the
And
Denver
he's
Nuggets.
a great kid, high character.
Patron of the DNVR Bar.
Yes.
Known
Yes.
patron.
He's I mean, Mr. Nugget potential through the roof.
Oh my God! I mean, it sounds like trite, but I mean, that really does mean something. Like players that actually get this, why Denver is a special place, and like actually feel like the fans are deserving of a high quality product. And they actually take pride. We saw Chauncey Billups came back and like transformed the team. And like obviously we're talking about two different calibers of player, but like there's something to the idea of really taking pride in the concept of Denver and wanting to do something for the people of Denver, which is not, it's something we've never been able to count on. It's something we've never really had. And it seems like the tide is turning in that regard. But I mean, if you can get people on your team that really genuinely want to be there, that's invaluable to me.
Is it possible? It would have to be like a sign and trade, right? How would they?
Is he a free agent?
can't
No,
remember.
he's not. He's under contract. It's a 4-year, 70-year deal.
Well, it's funny because I was told one of the teams that would have interest in Will Barton in free agency was the Spurs because they needed DeRozan replacement.
I mean,
who's leaving?
I would
So
not-
maybe that's your sign and trade right there. I don't know.
That would not be a terrible move in my opinion.
It's a lot of money, man. 15, 16, 17 million dollars for
Yeah.
Derek White. Like, he's good. I don't.
Yeah.
Is he better than Will Barton? I don't think so. He's different, but
He's different for sure.
Different.
Yeah,
he's
a lot
different. But what I'm saying is that's just a lot of money for what will probably end up being your fifth best player if you're ever going to win anything. You probably have your big three, and then you have, either the Aaron Gordon role or the Derek
Sure.
White role as the next top paid guy. It's
But
just
does that allow you to have Jamal Murray not move off ball and
a
play
little
that
bit.
too?
They're both like secondary. They're both
It's true.
They're both not
better.
point guards and not shooting guards.
right.
You know?
Yeah.
Sure.
I like Derek White. I'm with Eric for personal reasons. Yes, logically, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know
Yeah, especially when you.
that
I mean, I
contract.
have no idea how those negotiations are, but like, if you could do Barton for 15 a year, right? Which might be a stretch, but if you could, it's probably preferable. All right, let me dig around this mailbag here. I know there's something else in there. At Agitam99.
Let's go Agitam.
Or AJ Etam even.
Let's go AJ Etam.
Should the Nuggets give JaMychal Green the pay raise? I don't think he was bad, but I definitely don't think he overachieved last season. Or is there a chance he signs a long-term contract without the pay raise? So I know Bronco Squatch was one thing he thought was really possible here was that he's just looking for a very small raise, like $8.5 million. You know what I mean? As opposed to $7 million guaranteed.
Who?
JaMychal Green.
Oh.
He would opt
Bronco
in.
Squad.
Me, actually. Me.
So he would have
Bronco
opted
Squatch
in
is
for
looking for a
$7
small
mil.
raise of $1.5 million.
And that's something that Denver could offer to him without going over the cap. You know, they don't really have much space to go sign someone new, but they could give small raises. Adam, do you have strong feelings under the tax? Thank you. Do you have strong feelings either way about retaining Green?
My only strong feeling is I worry about too much turnover a second year in a row for Denver.
Yep.
Because my personal thoughts on JaMychal Green are that I think he's an okay player. He sounds like a great locker room guy, and Yoke loves him. That means it carries a lot of weight. Honestly, my biggest reasons for liking him, I think as a player, he's good, not great. I don't think he saves you. I don't think he kills you. And I think you can probably find guys to replace him. So I don't know. I like JaMychal Green. I don't love him.
Yeah, he really took us all over the map. When we started off, it was like, oh my God, Jeremy Grant, who? This guy's incredible. How would you ever? How do we even get JaMychal Green? And then midway through the season, you're like, is this guy an NBA player? What are we doing? Where we netted out is sort of like, I mean, it's hilarious to think that Jokic would declare that he wants to play the rest of his career with this guy, and then he's gone after 1 year. Just immediately
Well, it's funny, man. Do you remember how the season started off? Nuggets are 1-4, and JaMychal Green hadn't played yet.
Yes.
Then they got JaMychal
And he
Green
was
back,
on
and
fire.
they caught fire.
Yes.
So I'm with Adam in the sense that he's an okay player. I don't think he's gonna push you up a tier or take you down a tier if he's not on your team. But I think it's important to bring him back. I think Denver needs his toughness.
Yeah.
I think Denver needs his toughness and just his grit and how he's just
That's for sure. I agree.
Not scared of
Well,
anyone and
really important.
kind of an enforcer type.
And especially with, I personally, I don't know if you guys have a better idea of what is happening with Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap feels like, those two were sort of interchangeable, even though they oftentimes played together, but they sort of filled the same kind of role. And if we lost both of those players, which essentially represented the entire front court for the Nuggets at times last year for long stretches, that, I mean, are we talking about JaVale McGee? I don't even know what that looks like. So that, from that standpoint, it would be a bummer to lose JaMychal Green. But he's kind of like a guy.
I mean,
Swipa has a really good point in the comment here where he says that you could probably swap JaMychal Green for Jeff.
Oh, green on green
Swap here. Honestly, though, the funny thing is JaMychal Green brings things that Jeff Green doesn't. But I think in a playoff series, and by the way, Jeff Green had a fantastic year. I don't even know if he's gettable. But in a playoff series, Jeff Green, I think, way more valuable. The more things he can do, and it seems like that's the where it goes. So I'm with him on that one.
Yeah.
Even though you lose out on the leadership and toughness things a little bit, quite a bit, if you lose JaMychal.
What JaMychal Green probably wants is just the same exact contract he just signed,
More
but
years.
for a little more. Probably just another 1+1, right?
right, and that's what I'm talking about. And then you offer him 8.5,
Yeah.
and that's not really. I mean, what does that
That's
take
the
away?
mid-level.
But what does that take away from Denver in terms of what they could offer other players? I mean, they don't have a lot of cap space.
Probably inconsequential.
That's my point. And so if that's the figure, then to me, it's absolutely.
Kind of have a feeling Barton and JaMychal Green both. I would not be surprised if both were gone. I'm not saying that's will happen,
Man.
but I would not be
This
surprised.
team goes from all the continuity to so much turnover.
This is why the idea of moving up in a draft. Imagine you do a consolidation trade 3 players to move up. You draft one young player, and then you lose your 2 veterans, and you go oh my God, this team's so different and younger somehow.
It's crazy too if you think about the beginning of last season. We had 7 new players, and just the havoc that it caused on the team. They were just, that was the entire talking point for at least the first month of the season. Why were they losing? Why did they lose 2 games to the Sacramento Kings? And we're talking about a season where we're not going to have Jamal Murray for a large portion of it. continuity feels like even more important from that standpoint than ever before.
You need some stability.
For sure.
And JaMychal Green, to me, is stable.
Yeah.
Very stable.
Yeah.
I do think, having said all that, there's certainly a line in the sand where if he's looking for a contract that's different or bigger, Denver probably just turns to Zeke Nnaji at that point. But
Yeah.
anything else in that old mailbag, Kel? Let me dig around here. Love the sound effects. And here he is, our friend Jake, friend of the show. Stat Squatch, also known as Bronco Squatch, also known as Jake, also known as not friends with my mother. 10 days from now, 10 days from now, we will probably have a good idea of what the full is, including free agents. What do you hope the roster looks like? At least the final 4 or 5 spots that are up for grabs. It's sort of a tough question to flesh all the way out. I hope that they can bring Barton and Green back, and then they use their pick at 26. It's such a look, your chances of getting back to the level that they were at last season post-trade deadline after the Murray injury, they're pretty low. But it should absolutely be the goal, in my opinion. If you can bring that team back together without handcuffing yourself, you got to try, because that team was really good.
Yeah, what I expect and what I hope are probably two different things. I mean, look, Denver's been dealt a little bit of a rough hand with the Murray injury, just how everything ended up breaking out. Like you go from really from the top to now. There's just so much uncertainty. But if we talk hopeful, I know it's silly because it's not going to happen. This is like my foolish hope. I'm listening to Zach Lowe and Gavoni and Schmidt talking about all the different things they're hearing. Every team wants Lonzo Ball. It's so funny. No fans want Ben Simmons or Lonzo Ball. Every team wants these guys. That if you ask me what my hope is, that would be my hope that Denver somehow finds a way to do that. And that's why when I hear if Denver were to move up, the only way I could see it working out is if they were to shed a significant amount of their salary.
Yeah.
But I don't even see that happening. But
right.
If you ask me my hope, that would be my hope.
That's an awesome hope. That'd be awesome.
So fun to hope. I got 36 more hours of this.
That's like
Or just crush
a lot of our show is hoping for things. I hope we get a bit of a new look on the bench with a couple guys. Just mentioned Jeff Green. He'd be cool, I think. Doug McDermott, I think he'd be cool. He's a free agent I like. So I hope there's some new life that comes in on the bench. I hope that Tim dips into Europe and gets somebody from there that we can get hyped about.
I feel like you don't need to hope on that one.
Yeah, just wait for that to happen. But I'm not expecting fireworks.
Yeah, man, what do I hope happens? This is funny because you always have to wonder, are we overvaluing our own guys? This is just the sin that the Denver Nuggets fan base always commits.
Every fan base.
Yeah, when you're looking at a guy like Will Barton, when you're looking at a guy like JaMychal Green, particularly Will Barton, but he, that 2/3, that wing position in the NBA is as valuable as it gets. I mean, my hope is that we have a very competent player. It could, I guess, just be PJ Dozier. I guess we'll see what happens there. It would be nice also to go along with what Adam and George Karl now have said, where 2 years in a row now, where we get a really competent point guard to run this squad, especially to pair alongside Jamal Murray when he comes back. But more than anything, I want to see Zeke Nnaji become an important part of this team. I just want to see the natural progression sort of take hold and us not tear it up too much.
Yeah.
Knowing that we had a really, really formidable squad and we just got thunderstruck. I just hope that there's not too much knee-jerk reaction. And we're able to sort of run it back, but make it a little bit better.
I don't want somebody blocking Zeke Nnaji's minutes.
No.
Me neither.
That's
Me
for
neither.
sure.
Alrighty, guys, that'll do it here. We finally got to your mailbag questions. I think there are
Yeah.
a couple
Good job,
more
Vogt.
from the Discord. Maybe we'll we going members only today?
Oh.
We have more?
We have Discord questions.
do it.
Yeah, let's go members
Oh,
only.
members only.
Same
We'll
with our
answer those
members,
in a
dude.
bit.
Draft week, baby.
The rest of you guys will talk to you tomorrow, and we'll see you on Thursday at the DNVR Bar for DNVR Draft Day.
Oh,
Do not
marbling
miss this.
talk.
Come hang out. Peace.
I should have seen Aaron's face when you said, let's go. We'll go over